So next we have none other than Dr. Anaga Haru, who is also member ARC from West Zone, a brilliant surgeon, cataract and refractive surgeon, who is director of Anil Eye Hospitals, Mumbai. Dr. Anaga, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Harshul. Am I audible and
Yes, yes.
screen visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So this is a case about an 8-year-old boy who came to us with history of trauma with a ball, and he had traumatic cataract and an iridodialysis. So we first did a peritomy inferiorly in the area of the iridodialysis and marked a 1.5 millimeter along the inferior limbus in the area of the iridodialysis and made a partial thickness scleral groove. Then two side ports for the irrigation aspiration and two side ports for the retractors. We put in a little tricot just to confirm that there was no vitreous. And then we pulled up behind the pupillary edge so that we could go ahead with the lens aspiration. Then we went ahead with the capsular rhexis. So this was it was so important that this should be perfectly circular and a perfect rhexis. So fortunately we got that right. And then we took an incision 180 degrees exactly opposite the area of the iridodialysis. A very gentle hydrodissection was performed. And then with the bimanual, we did a lens aspiration. Since it was a pediatric patient, it was very easy and with very soft new material, and that was done. So once this was done, um, as you can see, the pupil was retracted there because of the iris retractor. And because it was a history of trauma, we thought it would be better to put in a CTR also, just in case there were some loose zonules, because this was a pediatric patient. So we put in a CTR in the capsular bag. And then after inflating the anterior chamber, we put in a 3-piece intraocular lens into the capsular bag. So once the lens was well centered and dialed in properly, the iris retractors now were removed, because now we had to go ahead and do the iridodialysis repair at the same sitting. So the iris retractors were now removed, and the viscoelastic in the anterior chamber was then aspirated. We then put in pilocarpine so as to constrict the pupil. Now, in order to do the iridodialysis repair, we were deciding between a 30 gauge and a 26 gauge, and we found that the 90 Prolene went in well through the 26 gauge needle. So now we used a double armed straight needle of the 90 Prolene and a bent 26 gauge needle through the partial thickness scleral groove that was done earlier. And by railroading technique, the iris was then sutured to the scleral edge. So we did it in 2 sittings. So this was the first part, and this is the second needle that is going through now. We had to be very careful each time we put in the 90 straight needle through the main incision. So we were opening it with the McPherson forceps because it can easily go through the corneal tissue, and that can cause an issue. Once this was done, then so we did it with the second knot, and both the knots were then later on tied simultaneously so as to have a good approximation of the iridodialysis edge. And once this was done, we tied the knots on each side very gently and not too tight and not too loose, so that both of them could approximate the edge perfectly. The pupillary edge was also then adjusted, and we saw that the knots were buried in the partial thickness scleral groove there, so that the ends would not irritate the patient. So both these procedures at the same sitting was attempted here. And once this was done, the pupillary edge was then adjusted, and the main wound was also sutured with 10-0 Ethilon single suture. And the case was done. We're just confirming here that the knots are buried, and the peritomy also was sutured. We could have also used glue here, but we used a suture here to close it. At the end of the surgery, the patient did extremely well. This was the end of the surgery, and the patient improved to 6'9", and this was the patient. Thank you so much for kind attention.
That was a
Amazing.
wonderful presentation, Anaga. A lot of learning. But just for the sake of an argument or a discussion in your case, why would you place a CTR? It's not like a prophylactic medication which is given, because your access was quite centered, and so you could have anyway, if you had come across a dialysis, you could have pushed in a CTR at a later point, and by the time you decided to put it, the whole cortex was out, so it was a clear bag.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I
was,
agree. There was no dialysis.
no need dialysis.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that. And a tip for the beginners who are watching this video. Of course, you know where to locate the incision in the area of the dialysis, but how many handbag sutures would you like to place, and how would you take your bite through the iris? Could you highlight that?
See, ma'am, here it was quite a large iridodialysis. So with only one suture, obviously it would not suffice. So that is why I decided to take 2, and 3 would have been too much. So that is why I marked it with the ink before we actually did it, and I had planned it pre-operatively also, even when I had taken the picture on slit lamp. So I had marked it so that once we took it, we found that it worked well.
And how do you hold the iris tissue so that it doesn't
so we
cut
used
through?
micro forceps. Micro forceps we used so as to put it, and in fact I did not want to put in the 26 gauge needle through the iris. That's why I put in the 90 Prolene needle instead of the 26 gauge, and then railroaded it through the 26 gauge needle, because I think the bore of the 26 gauge is much higher.
Ashwin, you have anything to ask?
Yeah. Dr. Anaga, very nicely managed. I think it's a perfect teaching video how to manage the case of with iridodialysis. Have you tried different methods like swing machine technique or the modified swing machine technique also to repair iridodialysis?
Yes, but in this case, I thought this worked well, because since it was a child and 2 sutures itself would suffice, and I didn't want to go in and out too many times. So I thought this would work well in this case. There are various ways that you can do it. If it was only an iridodialysis repair, then probably we could have done that. But I thought this would work well in this case.
Anything to add, Dr. Suhas?
Yeah. Well, Anaga, very well done. But then I'm sure while you're doing it, you must have noticed that when your 9-0 goes to the main opening, you know, your needle holder or whichever forceps instrument you're holding, it cannot hold the needle very steady. And that's the reason if you can use the AC maintainer trocar, which is devised by Dr. Amar, and if you put it through a small side port, and every time you put your needle through, if you use that trocar to push in your needle, the needle stays steady, and through a properly adjusted side port, if you go with a micro forceps to hold the peripheral edge of the iris and just push it through. And in such cases, even if it's 2 or 3, I still prefer to go for cobbler's technique or sewing machine technique. That's how, you know, you don't have to every time come in with your 26 number needle from periphery. You only all the time going with a 9-0 out and in, out and in. And if you can hold on with the forceps to the extreme edge of the torn iris, then before you tighten the suture, if you take the viscoelastic out and get your pupil well centered, even at the end, the pupil continues to remain centralized without a small peaking. But you did a good job. But for someone who wants to do it for a larger case, you have to be very watchful about the peaking of the pupil on one or other side. And that can be avoided if before you tighten the suture, get the viscoelastic out, get the pupil, use your forceps to pull on the pupillary edge to get it in the center and then tie the suture.
Right.
Thank you. So we shall now go.
Just one superb surgery and great points. Suhas, that point about trocar is truly, I think it's a great thought. We'll try it out the next time. I mean, Anaga, great surgery. Just to add a point, I mean, the last suture when you tied, the tension of the suture I might have adjusted a little bit because I found that there was a little peaking, just to make it even more perfect. And to play the devil's advocate, why not a multifocal intraocular lens? You did such a good surgery, 8-year-old, the refractive error is quite stable, the eye wall growth has already occurred, and this is not going to have a progressive subluxation. Why not a multifocal intraocular lens in this? Why banish him to a use of bifocals throughout his life? I mean,
Yes,
I would using.
Sir, his eye pressure was also on the higher side, plus it was a traumatic cataract, and definitely there would be PCO. So I didn't want to complicate matters even more. That is why
I'm just putting
he
this
had
thought in the
explained.
sense that,
And
in these patients also, nowadays we are wearing around to the view that we can, even monofocal and in monocular cataract, but where you expect the capsular bag to be very stable. Actually, there are surgeons who have started trying out multifocal intraocular lenses with reasonably good results. The present day lenses allow you to do that.
Okay.
yes, sir.
Thank you. Definitely, that's a food for thought. I mean, we are concept of getting great vision for all ranges of vision. The distance is important.